Hey everybody, this is Lee again. Before I get into tonight's topic, I just want to let y'all know to please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please donate. Um, well, the reason why I haven't made videos this past couple of days is because it's been raining a lot, and it's also been extremely hot too. And it's actually been so hot that I swear it must have hit at least 40 degrees not centigrade, Celsius. That's what I was thinking of. And, okay. They're having an argument. But anyway, so, tonight's topic, well, rambling, I guess I should say, is, incomplete list of places that won't give me a job. We'll start with that. See, as you all know, I've been trying for the past 9 months to look for work that does not involve teaching English in any way, shape, or form. Using what I already have, customer service. And since I know Vietnamese labor law and a few other laws, I figured I could do HR too. But specifically as it applies to hiring, retention, disciplining, and dismissal of employees. Well, obviously that didn't work out. So with a heavy heart, I decided that I had to go ahead and, once again, get Spartan kids back into teaching English. So what happened was, like I told everybody before, the fact that I don't want to speak English. I don't feel that I should have to. It's like I feel like my skin color, my passport, and my natural American English speaking skills should not determine what jobs I can work. My CV, my qualifications, and my experience should do that. Well, what happened was the fact that, like I said, with a heavy heart, I decided to go back to teaching English again because that's literally the only job that foreigners can get here in Ho Chi Minh City and in Vietnam in general, unless you're in a very specialized field, such as a doctor or AI engineer or something like that. Unless it's a very specialized field, then your only opportunity is to teach English and that's it. So, with that being said, here's a partial, incomplete list of all the places that will not give me a job. The U.S. will not give me a job because no bachelor's degree. ILA, OLA also will not give me a job. No bachelor's degree. Let's see. Emasi schools, EMASI, Emasi schools will not give me a job. No bachelor's degree. And a lot of the other places I've applied to, they won't even touch me because, again, no bachelor's degree. See, I know that under Vietnamese law, I'm legal to teach English in Vietnam. Now, I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have a college pay certificate, which is legal under Vietnamese law to prove college education. Now the problem happens in the fact that, you see, I have to work, I have to support my family, but, I've not received any donations at all whatsoever. I've not received any donations, nobody will give me money, nobody will even loan me money, and nobody will give me a job. So how am I supposed to survive here in Vietnam? Well, some people would say something like, well, go back to America and work and make money that way. No. The reason why I say no is because of the fact that I'm married and I have a kid. That's why I don't go back to America. I don't feel the need to. I live here, my family is here, therefore I will work and make money here. But how am I supposed to work if nobody will give me a job? Now, don't get me wrong, I've even tried to apply through LinkedIn to the United States for remote customer service positions, and even they won't give me a job. Even entry-level positions that require no experience, they will not give me a job. I'm frustrated. I really am. Because it just feels to me like I want to work. I'll work 12-hour days, 6 days a week. But nobody will give me a job. Even trying to go back to teach English, all they want is a bachelor's degree. Even though what I have is perfectly legal to prove college education, and therefore I should be hired, nobody's going to give me a job because no bachelor's degree. And that really, really makes me upset. It's like I told the lady for Amasi Schools, which had contacted me. No English center wants me because I'm not too young and single. I'm not childless either. I'm also not fresh off the airplane. And I actually love Vietnamese culture and heritage and stuff like that. English centers, they don't want me because I'm not Ron McDonald. I just teach a lesson, that's it. I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't play games. I just teach a lesson, that's it. I don't believe in edutainment because it doesn't work. See, as a former educator, since it's pretty obvious, even I won't be able to get even a teaching job anymore. As a former educator, I can tell you with certainty the fact that when you take away the singing, the dancing, the games, and you focus just on the lesson itself, the kids actually learn more, not less. English education does not need to be entertaining in any way, shape, or form. Because remember I told you the story of the first graders that I had to give the end of the year test to and how they all failed? Remember I told you that story? Yeah, that's a prime example of that. Now, yeah, I can kind of see how singing, dancing, games, stuff like that will motivate the kids to learn English. But at the same time, if you spent an entire year with these kids and they cannot say anything in English beyond what's your name, my name is blah blah blah, and that's it. That's all they know after a whole year. Yeah, you done messed up. Alright, well, I'm coming to that intersection where you gotta be careful. Let's see, we got a homeless man. Hold up. That looks like a African American dude. Maybe, not sure. Well, we ain't gonna disturb them. We're just gonna go on about our way. It's not often we see homeless people around here. It could be just a very dark-skinned Vietnamese man. I've heard of that too. Anyway, so moving on with the conversation. So that's what happens when all you do is sing, dance, and play games. The kids learn nothing, and I've seen that. See, the English centers here in Vietnam, or at least the ones that I've worked for, have it all wrong. Edutainment rots the brain. Singing, dancing, and games rots the brain. If you want kids to learn English, only teach the lesson. Only speak in English. That means the kids only speak in English in the class. But you see, you can't really enforce that. Because of the fact that, again, at least for the English centers I work for, the kids will only speak in Vietnamese in the class, and they will only speak in English when you ask them a direct question. And normally they can't even answer it properly anyway. And again, it's like I also said that if you go ahead and give an honest midterm test, an honest end of the year test, then the students have a class of 50 plus. I've actually been in classes that had about 55 students, and that's a lot. But I have a class of, let's say, 50 students, only one may pass, maybe two. But usually only one kid out of a class of 50 will pass. That's it. And that's how bad the English teaching sphere is here in Vietnam. Now you ask, well, you have all these English centers and all these English teachers, why is the kids' education so poor? Well, like I said earlier, they focus on singing, dancing, and games. They don't focus on the actual lesson itself. And that's the reason why no English center will hire me, beyond the fact that I'm not cute, young, single, I'm not childless, I have no bachelor's degree, because I'm not Ronald McDonald, I'm a human being. And I want to be treated like one. You know, it's not hard. People treat me with respect, I treat them with respect. It's that simple. But it's like I said, no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, it's like nobody will give me a job. So, the main thing with me is the fact that the one and only way that I found out or figured out how to solve this particular problem is to get dual citizenship. And I mean dual citizenship specifically because of the plain and simple fact that I'm not going to give up my American citizenship for very obvious reasons. But beyond that, I want Vietnamese citizenship so I can work. I want to be able to provide for my family. Even if I get a job that only makes like $500 a month, that's still better than nothing. You know, $500, $600 a month, which is about, $15 million. It may not be much, but it's something. And I'd rather have that than nothing at all. But unfortunately for me, I have this suspicion that even if I get dual citizenship, it is very highly unlikely that anybody will give me a job. And then, of course, that starts the whole legal issue when a Vietnamese company won't hire a Vietnamese citizen for work because they're a foreigner. Yeah. So, my option is extremely limited. Nobody's donating to me, nobody's giving me money, nobody is loaning me money, nobody's giving me a job. So, the only thing I can sit up to do is, if I ever get some money, to play the lottery, because you never know. Here in Vietnam, an actual twist to the rules is the fact that even foreigners can play the lottery and win. Like I told you before, there's this guy, a foreigner, who went ahead and won the lottery. 1 million USD. I think he had like, I don't know. Well, he had about 1 million USD for his prize. And a lot of citizens were very unhappy about that a foreigner won the lottery. Because here in Vietnam, the common perception is that you're either a tourist or you're rich, or both. The vast population, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, mind you, in my opinion, the vast majority of Vietnamese citizens cannot comprehend a poor foreigner, especially one who wants to work local jobs. They cannot comprehend that because they see English teacher, you see. You know, he's an English teacher. Well, what makes you think so? Is it the color of his skin, what language he speaks? What makes you automatically assume he's an English teacher? So, yeah. That's the other thing I gotta deal with. People call me teacher all the time, and it really, really irritates me to no end. I've even had to tell people in Vietnamese that I am not an English teacher. I have no job. And yeah, so well, being a foreigner that's poor and unemployed, broke, and all that, I look around and I see local citizens that have jobs, that sell vegetables, that sell fruit, sell meat, sell coffee, and all this other stuff. And I look at them and I'm envious because they get to work. They get to have jobs, they get to make money. And here I am, broke and unemployed, because I refuse to teach English. And even now that I'm forced to teach English again, I have no bachelor's degree. So it's like no bachelor's degree, no job. Even though I have college trade certificates, like I said before, I should be able to get work. But nobody will accept college trade certificates, even though they're legal to be accepted, they won't accept them. And even if you show them the law that says that college trade certificates are legal to be proven as college education here in Vietnam, even if you show them the law, they don't care. No bachelor's degree, no job. Now see, me not having a bachelor's degree in any particular field is 50-50 blame. 50% on me because of the fact that I just never saw going to college as being an option. Primarily because of the fact that I'm not rich enough to go to college. I'm not rich enough to study, you know. If I could go to college and study and get an actual certified bachelor's degree that will be recognized in the United States, then I'd happily go to a local college and enroll and, you know, become have a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree. But like I said, you know, I never saw that it was in my future, and 50%, I would say, falls on my parents, because even if I had asked them to help co-sign for a loan so I could go ahead and get a bachelor's degree, they wouldn't have done it. They did for my sister. She also got Pell Grants. But at the same time, they wouldn't sign for me. So, today, if I had the money, I would go ahead and enroll. But what I would get would be a bachelor's degree in Vietnamese studies, or maybe even a master's degree in Vietnamese studies, because I need to learn Vietnamese. I really do. Now, I blazed through Rosetta Stone on its hardest difficulty setting. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, storytelling, the whole bit. Alright, I blazed right through it. But unfortunately for me, I can't remember anything. That's the biggest problem I got. I don't understand it. It's just, mostly I was just guessing. And I got the right answer, and I go, huh, look at that. But I couldn't remember anything. So yeah, I would actually get a bachelor's degree in Vietnamese studies, which I would then turn around and seek a master's in Vietnamese studies. And if I wanted to push it even further past that, get a doctorate in Vietnamese studies, and that's if they even offer such a thing. I know they offer bachelor's and master's, but I don't think they offer a doctorate in Vietnamese studies. So, that's what I would do. Now, there's no guarantee that I would actually be able to pass, because my memory is quite rotten. And why my memory is rotten is, well, that's a topic for another video, and that's if I choose to say it and talk about it. But for those of you that know me, and know me well, you know exactly why I have rotten memory. Anyway, moving on. So, why would I get a bachelor's and then possibly a master's in Vietnamese studies versus getting a bachelor's and master's degree in teaching English? Why would I do that? Well, because I see Vietnamese studies as more practical and more beneficial to me than teaching English. See, if I had a master's degree in Vietnamese studies and I could speak Vietnamese with a northern dialect, just like a citizen, not only would I be able to protect myself when going to foreigner areas, because I'd be able to get citizen prices and not dumb foreigner tourist prices, but also because of the fact that I could actually teach Vietnamese as a foreigner. Yeah, imagine that. But beyond that, reason why I also want to learn is because of the fact that I want to go ahead and be able to speak to my parents-in-law. Because my parents-in-law are 71, 72 years old, alright? Same age as my mom. My dad, he sadly passed away back in 2011 at the age of 62 due to complications from his cancer treatment. So yeah. Anyways, I want to go ahead and speak to my parents-in-law and just actually sit down with them and have a conversation and be able to explain to them everything that I was not able to explain to them before. To be able to sit down, talk with them, have a heart-to-heart and stuff like that. That's honestly what I want. But the thing is though, my parents-in-law, like I said, they're 71, 72 years old. And a bachelor's degree takes 4 years and a master's takes 5, so that's 9 years total. And I'm 39 right now. So 39 plus 9 equals 48. So if I even started this year, it'd be 48 years old. And maybe I wouldn't be able to start until next year, which would put me at 49 when I finally complete my studies. So, and that's if I had the money to pay for it. If. Alright. So, my thing is quite simple. Beyond that, it would actually be quite helpful to me because of the fact that I'd be able to communicate with everyone, possibility that I could actually teach Vietnamese as a foreigner, and I'd be able to talk to my parents-in-law. But going even further than that, go to America, one of the cities I used to live in, Springfield, Missouri, actually has a large contingent of Vietnamese people that live there. And there's not a little Saigon area in Springfield, but there are a lot of Vietnamese people that live there. So I think it'd be kind of cool one day to go to a Vietnamese restaurant in Springfield and have a polite conversation with the staff there in Vietnamese. I think that'd be kind of cool. But the other thing is that what I'm afraid of is the fact that with my memory being so rotten, that there's only so much I can learn. I feel like I can only learn so much, and that once I hit that wall, which I think I have, that I won't be able to learn anymore no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do. Let's see. Okay, we're now approaching the other intersection where I gotta watch myself. I wish they had pay toilets or even free toilets around here or something where I could use if I had to go take a piss. But they don't. It looks like it might rain again later on, so pretty sure that I'll be back before it dumps, if it does. So hot today. And I wasn't joking about what I said earlier though. It's been extremely hot these past few days. And I know a lot of foreigners that I don't think would be able to take Vietnamese heat. Because it's more humid than hot, Dry heat and humid heat are completely different. Dry heat, you can stand a little bit more of it because it's just, humid heat. It's not anything, worse. Humid heat actually sticks to you. So, yeah. Oh, man. No, I keep walking the same route when I can, weather permitting. I keep seeing the same shops available. For example, there's this one shop over here. I'm going to show it to you. See if I can cross the street real quick. Now, I don't know a lot of Vietnamese, alright? But I will show you this sign and tell you what it says. See, this sign right here says for lease. Cho thuê mặt bằng for lease. Không bằng hạn ăn uống. What it means is you're not allowed to sell food or drinks. So yeah, bán hàng, you're not allowed to sell food or drinks. Now, the reason why is because of the fact that behind here, like over here, there's a little workers to live. And I guess what they don't want is people to go ahead and create a bunch of noise. You know what I mean? Plus, there's already a bunch of noise anyways. All the people like to set up their on the sidewalks. See around here, all that. Yeah, that's the reason why we can't have sidewalks here in Vietnam, because people like to set up shop there. And the other reason why we can't have sidewalks is because people like to go and put all their stuff out, like to extend their business onto the sidewalk, to extend their house onto the sidewalk. So, yeah, like I said, that's the reason why we can't have a sidewalk, is because people put their businesses out there. Now, a lot of people will go ahead and tell the city will come by, the city will remove or confiscate everything, and then they just do it again. People around here don't care. When the sidewalk is open, they will use it for their business, regardless if it's legal or not. Now, the main reason why I keep going on these walks is because of the fact that my wife tells me I need to get more exercise. And, I'm fat. I'm very fat. I weigh at least 106 kilos, which I don't know what that is in, American imperial system. But I weigh 106 kilos, and I should weigh about 72, 73. That's what I'm supposed to weigh anyway. So, yeah, I'm carrying around 36 kilos of extra weight. And frankly, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to drop all this weight. I like to eat. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I like to eat. And I can come up with some pretty tasty stuff from time to time. But the problem occurs is when I make too much food and then I don't eat it all. So, yeah, make too much food, you don't eat it all, and then you gotta stick it in the fridge for later. Hopefully, if nobody else messes with it, you don't have to worry about it, and you can go ahead and eat it the next day. Now, see, what I do is that I go ahead and try to eat leftovers within 24 hours. Normally in America, you can stick something in a Ziploc container and it'll be there for a few days. But here in Vietnam, they don't really have Ziploc containers. I mean, they do, but it's just not the same. So what I would do is try to eat the leftovers in 24 hours or less. And I won't eat it at all if I see that somebody mess with it. That's my thing. See, I got this very specific thing when it comes to food. I will not eat after other people at all. So if I see somebody else eating off of some food, I'm not going to eat after it myself. Mainly because of the fact that I don't want to get sick. So if one person has a stomach virus, everybody gets a stomach virus. So yeah, I don't do that. I turn around at the halfway point, so I guess that's what this is, the halfway point. Man, I'm really wishing they had a toilet or something around here I could use, but they don't. Restaurant, yeah, but they probably won't let you use the toilet for free. But anyways, let's say there's some clouds coming in, but not a lot. I'll definitely be able to make it home before anything kicks off, if it does. But anyways, moving on. So my problem is the fact that, like I said, I can't get a job. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I do have college trade certificates. Now, applying for jobs, say at Concentrics, with their customer service spots, they always have open, and they never hire me for it. It's because I'm not a Vietnamese citizen. You see, it's perfect for me because they offer 10 to 13 million a month, which is okay. They offer basic benefits, what's required under the law. And they also go ahead and offer a few other things too. But like I said, they won't hire me because I'm not a citizen. I'm a foreigner. And what I find sad is the fact that they don't require a bachelor's degree. They don't require this, that, or the other. But the problem is the fact that, man, I wish I could use the bathroom right now. But they don't require a bachelor's degree. All they require is good English and a high school diploma. That's it. I got a GED, so I guess I'm screwed there too because I have a GED, the good enough diploma. And that's a story in and of itself. I mean, we got plenty of time, so I might as well talk about it. See, nobody on YouTube knows my Western birth name. I'm not going to say it, so don't ask. But suffice it to say, many years ago, I had a different name and a different life back when I was still going to high school. And it was not the greatest, to be honest. It wasn't the greatest because of the fact that was right after the Columbine shootings. I was about 13 when the Columbine shootings happened because I turned 10 in 96 and the Columbine shooting happened in 99. So yeah, I was 13 when that happened. And I entered high school at 14 and the 9th grade center in the West Campus later on. The problem was the fact that, well, needless to say, my hometown is very, very heavily religious, if you get my meaning. And my parents, they raised me to believe that when I'm old enough and I can make my own decisions, that I can choose my own religion. So for a while, they did go ahead and have me go to a Lutheran church. Up until I was about 8 years old, that's what I did. I went to a Lutheran church, and then I woke up one day and decided I don't want to go no more. And that's that. After that point, they didn't make me go anymore. So I went from there, didn't do nothing for a while, went to a Mormon church in my hometown for a bit because my best friend at the time was also going to Mormon church, although he didn't believe. So we hung out at church, we hung out on the church socials and stuff like that, but we didn't believe, so it was whatever. And right about the time I entered high school, I discovered the religion that I believe in now. Which again, I'm not going to talk about it, because that's not something I really talk about. If you want to know what my religion is, donate, and I'll probably tell you. There's a high chance I won't, but if you donate enough, I might tell you what my religion is. But anyway, so it was about 14 years old, I discovered my religion. And there are actual books written on my religion. Well, the precepts of it anyway. Now see, my parents were not happy that I found these books. My school was not happy that I found these books. The reason why they weren't happy is because it's not the Christian Bible, So what happened was, they decided to put me in a special ed class to try and sequester me away from the other students. even though there's nothing wrong with me. They put me into the special ed class where I wouldn't disturb the quote-unquote normal students, and that didn't deter me at all. So after ninth grade, they just put me back into the regular mainstream classroom, but I still had to visit the special ed classroom for study hall or some other nonsense. And then what happened after that, I went ahead and actually got ordained in my religion from a temple that no longer exists. Yeah, I know. The temple that I got ordained in no longer exists. Let's see. They're looking for laborers. Yeah, they're probably looking for laborers and machine operators. But they're not going to hire me because I'm not a citizen, so it is what it is. But anyways, so I got ordained in my religion at the age of 16. And what happened was, I went ahead and got fed up because everybody tried to go ahead and tell me, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to do that. You know, you're not allowed to wear that symbol because it's a gang sign. And I went and told the school resource officer, the vice principal, I told everybody. I said, how can you tell me this is a gang symbol when another gang uses a different religious symbol as their gang symbol? So why is this a gang sign and not that? Well, they weren't really happy about that. But things came to a head one day when they wouldn't allow me to celebrate my religious holidays in a way that I saw fit. So I enlisted the help of the ACLU, who went ahead and essentially told the school that if they didn't let me celebrate my holidays in a way that I saw fit, that they would essentially sue them for about, I think it was like $1 million if they didn't comply. And of course they complied, but they were very unhappy about it. You know, being that it's a very religious city, or town I should say, a very religious town where I came from. They were not happy about being forced to let me practice my religion. Yeah. Well, you know that old phrase, you win the battle but you lose the war. Well, I won the battle, you know. I was able to practice my religion the way I saw fit. I was wearing a priest collar and everything. But I lost the war because of the fact that nobody would give me a job. When I was 16, I tried to apply for a job at McDonald's in my hometown. They said, come back when you're 17. And I said, okay. So I came back again, applied to McDonald's when I was 17. And I asked them, you know, please give me a job. And I called back once a week on a Monday for 2 months saying, hey, please give me a job. And they're like, oh, we're still checking your application. And at the end of 2 months, they said, oh, that position's already been filled. Okay. So I tried other places, Burger King, Wendy's. You know, I tried every single place, even Walmart. And nobody would give me a job. Because I'm not Christian, you see. They would not give me a job because I'm not Christian. And when I turned 18, I decided that I've had enough of public school because public school doesn't work for me anyway. So what I decided to do, I decided to go ahead and quit school, and I got my GED, the Good Enough Diploma. I quit, got my GED, and of course, when I got my GED, my mom and dad said that, well, you're not in school anymore, so you don't have a place to live. So yeah, they kicked me out of the house at 18 because I wasn't going to school. Alright, hopefully this guy is done backing up. The guy still needs his side mirrors so he can try and back up. He's got a huge truck he's trying to back up. He's also trying not to break that mirror on the side too. Gotta have at least one mirror so we can see behind him. But anyways, continuing on with my story. So 18, got my GED, not a Christian, got kicked out of the house, no job, no place to stay, nothing. So what happened was, I went ahead and went to a homeless shelter in my hometown. Stayed there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And even during this time, I tried every single day to apply for jobs. Even jobs I did not qualify for. Just to prove to the shelter director that I was looking for work. And you know what she said? A little over 2 weeks into me staying there, she said, well, it's obvious you're not looking for work, so if you don't get a job within the next 3 days, we have to put you out. Okay. So at that point, I pretty much resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to die homeless. So that left a mark on me, and not in a good way either. It was my oldest sister that gave me a break and offered me a place to stay because I explained my situation to her, and she gave me a place to stay. And that kicked off what I call 5 years of hell. And I call it 5 years of hell for a very specific reason. I call it 5 years of hell because of the plain and simple fact that from the ages of 18 to 23, it was an absolute nightmare. Now, 18 was in 2004, and 5 years of hell ended in 2009. But if we walk it back a couple of years, 2007, that's when it technically ended. So from 2004 to 2007 was actually 3 years of hell, not 5. Except it took a couple extra years for me to get myself straightened out after everything that happened. Looks like I need to start getting myself home a little faster. It's probably starting to get dark. Hopefully I get home before it rains. Alright, well, anyways, I need to start hurrying up here. It's probably starting to look dark and nasty. So anyways, here's what's going on. So, what happened was, after I got myself straightened out, it was about 2008 when everything started getting straightened out again. And I got my first job at Arby's. Yeah, very first job I ever got was at Arby's. And that job was actually a pretty cool job. Everybody there smoked. And it was good. Even the manager smoked. It was good. However, we found out that manager later on got fired for stealing from the safe. She got transferred to Burger King, which I ended up working for a little later. And she got fired from there for stealing from the safe. She just couldn't keep her hands off the stuff that wasn't hers. But the reason why I talk about all this stuff is just to give you a small taste of what I've been through in my life. I haven't had an easy life, you know. I'm a foreigner, yeah, that's true, but I've not had an easy life. And if I had the ability to go to college, I probably still would have had a place to stay until I graduated. And I could have avoided the 5 years of hell altogether. But, as they say, if ifs and buts were Canadian and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Now, me personally, I've grown a lot older and a lot wiser. At least I think so. Oh, man, that was nasty. I better hurry. And, my religion started out as 2 books. But since then, I incorporated a lot of stuff. Like how Christianity incorporated a lot of stuff from other religions. Well, I do the same thing. My religion includes the 2 books that I read, combining Asian philosophy some Buddhism, and my own personal philosophy that I've, cobbled together over the years into my own religion. I created my own religion, and it suits me and serves me quite well. Now, some people can be atheists and not believe in anything. That's their choice. I personally care less. Some people, they have to have religion in their lives to have something to believe in, to give them hope. Well, my religion, like I said, my religion suits me just fine. I'm not really too worried or concerned about those who don't believe. Someday, I will be making videos that specifically talk about my religion. And all of these videos that talk about my religion will be 18 plus, specifically marked as 18 plus. And more than likely, all of these videos will be unlisted, which means they will be on YouTube, but unless you have links, you won't be able to find them. The reason why is because the topic is religion, and religion is a very sensitive and touchy subject. I don't expect these videos to be monetized either. Now, I have to hurry because, like I said, it's really starting to look nasty. I hope I make it back before it rains. I should have thought about that, maybe not take a walk, but I had to, you know what I mean? I want to show you this real quick. So, that's what I'm looking at right now. See that big, nasty cloud right there. So that's why I had and hurry back as quick as I can. Sorry, I have 47 minutes, so let's see if I can try and hurry back quickly. So, this phone, last time I checked, is water protected. IP67, so it should be okay in case of a sudden downpour. But hopefully I'll be able to make it home before that happens. Oy. Man. But anyways, I gotta go ahead and try and frog march. So as quickly as I can, I bet you it's going to do the same as last time. It's going to just dump quickly. I don't have my rain suit on me or nothing. For the past 3 nights, including tonight, it's pretty much raining at the exact same time. And it is, well, not a very nice thing. A lot of rain. Yeah, I'll let my exercise today in. That's for sure. Now, the other thing, why do I start making these videos again? Well, frankly, because, to put things quite honestly, I have nothing else to do with my time. I'm bored. And I do have real life friends. But one of my real life friends lives in Jinan, China. And he's I guess you'd say professor. But he teaches at a college in Jinan, China. And him I met in person. I have American friends too, which again I've met in person, except for one. That one's just online only, which is perfectly fine. So yeah, there's that. So here in Ho Chi Minh City itself, I have no friends. It's just me. That's it. And in the whole time I've lived in Vietnam, only one friend has ever come and see me in person at my house. Like I said, I was back in District 10, but District 10 doesn't really count because we didn't stay there that long. Little spot to sell. So, there's that. But not counting District 10, I've not had a single person ever visit me at my house. Now, some people say, well, you need friends. You need friends. Well, that's true. Everybody needs friends. But the thing is, though, is the fact that I'm very choosy, very picky over who my friends are. And for those of you that are my friends, you know exactly who you are, and I definitely appreciate the fact that you are my friend. I mean, I appreciate you that much, but you're still my friend regardless. So, this old saying that I'm reminded of, that simply states that I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. Please hit me. Please hit me. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. And what that means simply is the fact that I'd rather have 4 high quality friends versus 100 low quality friends. And I'd rather have 4 people that I can talk to about anything and that'll have my back over 100 people that are just fair weather friends. That's what I'd rather have. Oh, the weather's coming quick. Gotta hurry. The wind's already starting to pick up. That cloud looks nasty. It looks like it's gonna dump any moment. I keep walking by this one shop, this one little, roadside stand that sells ham hocks. Like pig feet with some meat attached to it. It looks delicious. But I've never had the money to buy one. They do look good though. Now, see, me personally, I know that a lot of people here in Vietnam don't want to be videotaped or photographed. And I try to honor that as much as I can. Not videotape people, not photograph people. Now, in America, it's pretty much a given that you're more than likely going to be videotaped or camera, video recorded. But here in Vietnam, it's not really such a common thing. So, yeah. Well, honestly, I don't have a lot left to talk about, and I'm really trying my hardest to go ahead and get back to the house before it's dumped on me. But I hope that somebody, somewhere, decides to donate cash, crypto, something to help me out. I also hope to win the lottery, because foreigners can win the lottery here. And if I win the lottery, pay taxes. Now, see, because I'm an American citizen, I have to pay taxes to both Vietnam and America. Working, you win the lottery, anything like that. And even crypto, you have to pay taxes on it. Now, see, the thing is, though, what I make in lottery winnings is enough to qualify for that threshold. But the way I see it, if my wife claims the winnings, and the winnings are 100% under her name, then I don't have to pay taxes on it because it's not my name. But at the same time, I might still see what I can do about paying some taxes anyways, but I'd still be receiving that money. But I don't think I would have to pay taxes if it's in my wife's name and my wife gives it to me. If my wife gives me some money from the lottery winnings, then I don't think I have to be taxed on that, because in Vietnam, to pay tax on the lottery winnings, you pay 10%. To say you win $2 billion off a lottery ticket, you pay $200 million in taxes, you get $1.8 billion back. Now in America, it's also tradition that when you win a major prize, the lottery corporation pays 10% of your winnings to the person who sold you the ticket. So, I would do the same if I won a major prize. I also give 10% to the person who sold me a ticket. to another 200 million. Thank you. I think that's fair and proper. Now, here in Vietnam, they may have something like the same, but I'm not really sure if they have the same thing or not. But that's what I would do. Pay off the debt. Pay taxes, pay off the debt. Give some to charity, and what's left over, we divide equally between my wife, my daughter, and myself. Now, my daughter, she's only 3. She's going to turn 4 here in November. She doesn't know what to do with, a very large amount of money. So what we would do for her, more than likely we would invest in gold and just keep it like that. Now, because of gold prices being as high as it is, we could probably get her about 3 taels of gold. 37.5 gram discs or bars of gold. And that's it. And then if we're lucky, that gold will actually appreciate in value. And when my daughter turns 18, she will actually get more for her portion than what my wife and I got for our portions. Everything is fair. So this way nobody can claim they got more than the other. So, yeah. Anywho, I'm about at the end of my walk, so I just wanted to say, have a good night, or day, morning, whatever. Be safe. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please donate. Remember, if you check my posts on, if you check my word posts on YouTube here, you'll see you have 5 ways to donate to me. You got PayPal, Picoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT. You have 5 different ways to donate to me. And also, number 6, actually, is if you're in Vietnam, number 6, if you're in Vietnam, you can go ahead and donate by bank transfer to my Vietnamese Vietnam bank account. So again, this is Julian Han, reporting to you live from Neighborhood 42 and Pudong Ward, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, saying have a good day, good night, good morning, be safe, please donate. Peace.